It sort of makes people want to write and want to explore things. So you really made us want to read Alice Munro and want to explore this idea of geocriticism. And I'm sure the audience has so many questions, and I have questions as well. But let's start with the audience so that we begin with our guests first. And
there is a lecture in Arabic after this one, so if you don't understand me very well here, you can wait for the next one.
Most of the people I think are from English department. Anybody from Arabic, anybody doesn't speak English or doesn't study English? Because I actually, أنا كنت بحاول استغل الدكتور بالجواد يعني أقصى استغلال. فقلت عشان قسم علم نفس وقسم جغرافيا وقسم Arabic department وكده يجوا، فقلت لهم هتبقى في محاضرة باللغة العربية بعد المحاضرة. لكن I think if you all understand English, please raise your hand. Everybody, yes. Good. So let's continue our discussion in English, and then we are going to have Dr. Abdelgawad kindly and generously, after the break, of course, we have to eat something before we go on. So let's like take like 15 minutes for questions. Okay?
I just want to ask if I'm going to study Alice Munro from the point of view of regionalism, is it going to differ a lot from geocriticism?
What do you mean by regionalism? For minorities, for example?
Yes, not only minorities. It's known that Alice Munro was so much interested in the provinciality of Canada itself. Yeah. And this is reflected in all of her stories, and even the novel, the Lives of Girls, her only novel, it is reflected in there. Is it going to differ a lot when we...
I guess this would be a very exemplary approach. If you approach regionalism through that spatial perspective, that would help you a lot. With that focus, with that close up on space. Because as I said, you cannot help it. On every page, she is haunted and possessed by space all the way through. So I see no difference actually between talking of discussion of regionalism and geocriticism.
I just want to make sure.
Is there a difference in terms from what? Because we actually have so many terms. Yes.
Regionalism and geocriticism.
Yes.
I'm saying they are cousins, you know.
Yes.
Okay.
That would help her a lot. That focus.
Part of the approach.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Also, in relation to what Dr. Nash was said, I think she is more of a poet than a story.
I said as much. It's poetic.
Yes. I like the study of the
She is very talented, as you have surmised when it comes to language. Yes.
It's very obvious.
She is so clever in her use of language. As I said, tantalizing. You say things that are so difficult to express, but she manages to do them and to give life to them.
One of the things that was written about her when she was awarded the Nobel Prize for her literature is that she had added something new to short stories. The thing that she added was this idea that she puts place and space at the top of everything she writes.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, and again that she has made use of that small space of the short story to express what can otherwise be expressed in a very wide, spacious atmosphere.
Very interesting, because actually in a short story, it may sound like oxymoron to have so many spaces. We are used to this in a novel.
I just have, I was wondering, do women use space in a different way from men? So have you studied male writers using space? Are they that poetic, or is Munro just very poetic and she's a poetic human being, not a female?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Actually,
women, yeah.
Please, here defines the question.
You know, if you remember the starting slides, gave you an idea about how many texts talked about space. I read about 100% of them. And so all of them, like Bleak House, for example, by Dickens, like A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, A Room with a View by Ian Forster, Where Angels Feel to Tread by Forster, all the Thomas Hardy novels, all the William Faulkner novels, all such texts handle space in various ways. But in none of them, there is that correlation between space and the development of the narrative. The space is there as one of the agents or the forces that propel the novel onwards, but it's not as important as in Munro. Coming to your question, the metaphoric part of it, or the figurative part of it, has been let's say, there in Thomas Hardy, because Thomas Hardy is in essence a poet. You see, in Forrester, because Forrester is a master of language. You understand? But there is no comparable. There is no writer that is comparable to Munro in that melting pot of speciality and aestheticism. She talks about space in a magic way, and at the same time, her use of language comes like, you know, Dr. Fadila's language, as if she's breathing. You know, she talks as if she's breathing. And here she uses her beautiful, exquisite, magnificent description of space in very exquisite language, which is not separable. They are not separable at all. That beauty of language with that interest in space.
May I say a very short comment to this question about women and space? Toni Morrison has something to say about this. She writes about the novel. She writes about her novels and African American women's novels with the title of "Intimate Things in Place." She actually thinks, and she believes, that women are more connected to space than men.
And this is Virginia Woolf, by the way.
I'm not sure about
Virginia
that.
Woolf as well.
And Virginia Woolf as well.
She's in a whole book about this.
By the way, the novels of Woodhill, the lady with Madame Bird, Isabel Archer.
And Isabel
If you
Archer.
want to judge a personality, look to the place. There is this personality.
And in the preface to the Portugal lady, this is part of the House of Fiction.
And if you remember also Emily Dickinson, Bustle in the House.
Wuthering Heights.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Emily Dickinson.
Yes, she's confined to the house,
Yes.
and all her emotions are there in the house, and she keeps her emotions in place.
Exactly.
Till
Because I could not
eternity.
stop for death, he kindly stopped for me.
Yes.
Yes,
She keeps her emotions till eternity in a small space.
Yes.
Yes,
To see a word in a grain of sand and hold infinity in the palm of your hand. This is when I'm big. To see the word in a grain of sand, space, small space, and hold infinity in the palm of your hand. Infinity.
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Actually, I have two questions. The first one is, do the field of eco-criticism, ecological criticism, belong to geocriticism?
Eco-criticism?
Yeah.
One aspect of this.
Okay, can I respond to this first?
Sure.
Before you come up with this.
Mona actually is doing her MA
On eco-criticism.
on eco-criticism.
Yes, to my mind, I've studied this actually, and geocritics talked about that relationship between both. Actually, geocriticism is much more spacious and much more comprehensive than just eco-criticism, which concerns itself with the study of the ills of ecology, ecological problems. It has to do with problems. It has to do with ills and negative things and passive attitudes and reactions to the environment, whether from man to the environment or the other way around. But geocriticism, as I said, is wider and much more spacious and comprehensive, as it encompasses everything, whether passive or positive, whether negative or constructive. So, eco-criticism is part of geocriticism.
The second question, how are we shaped by the place? Is it an emotional shaping, mental shaping, and which of them have the full power, equal over space or space over?
Thank you very much. This is intelligent too. It has to do with psychology, actually. You internalize it, you feel it. It all plays on one's awareness, or as I have been saying in my slides, spatial consciousness. And consciousness actually is built up unconsciously. One's consciousness and awareness of things is much more emotional and psychological and internalized than being intellectual or mental. It's not something to ponder with the mind. The child's love for Mike is not intellectual. It is all psychological. It is latent and ulterior. It lives and grows inside you, having nothing to do with the mind and with the course of logic.
Thank you.
Okay, when it comes to the importance of the locale in the novel or maybe the poetry in general literature, we can hardly forget about امرؤ القيس when it comes قف نبكي ذكرى حبيبي ومنزلي أمر بديار ديار ليلى أقبل ذا الجدار ولا الجدار وما حب
هي في الشريحة العربي عندي انت جبتها ازاي؟
وما حب الديار شرفنا قلبي ولكن حب من شاء the other way around سقط اللوى والدخول وحوم places that totally has disappeared in our history, in our modern history, but are still there now in the mind of those who are interested in literature because Ibn al-Qais mentioned them in his poetry.
You've said it. He just mentioned. There is a lot of difference between mentioning and appropriating. Appropriating, it is there all the time, and all other values discern. Every verb from verb discerns. Every element discerns or derives from space in postmodernism. In أمر القيس, as in Harvey or محفوظ, حتى أولاد حارتنا وقصر الشوق والسكرية وبين القصرين, أولاد حارتنا, all those are novels in our space. But yet, and even Miramar, which talks about Alex, but again, it's a mention of time, a mention of space. Not that grappling with space all the time. Not that concern, not that predominant concern with
maybe that would be related to bachelor's theories of space. That is maybe geocriticism is an extension of bachelor's.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
It is.
But when it comes to the influence of the locale, we can hardly also forget محمد عبد الحليم عبد الله. When
انت بتاخد كل الكلام الشريحه اللي بعرفها.
one of the journalists wrote about him غابت العجائب التي يذهب إليها كل ربيع.
Yeah, if you could bear with me for a second, please. This is. I just want to show you that there is telepathy between
you and the audience.
Yes, between Nagy. Yes. Okay.
Actually, until you find this,
yes, please.
I'm interested also in. There are a number of questions I see people raising their hands, but I would like very much to. I would like you, Dr. Begawat, to explain to us, because you mentioned en passant that Alice Munro is a postmodernist writer, because in a postmodernist sense, space and place has a different meaning.
Yes.
Okay, when we talk about Imru al-Qais, or when we talk about Muhammad al-Halim Abdullah, or when we talk about Naguib Mahfouz in Miramar, this is a different story from, like, for example, Pension, The Triangle of Lot, or Don DeLillo's White House, or Alice Munro's. So I would like you actually to shed light on the postmodernist sense of place. How is it different? Different from, because writers have been dealing with place, like you have said at the beginning. Writers have been dealing with place throughout history of literature, throughout the history of writing. But how is it different now in the what is the postmodernist sense of place?
What is the essence of postmodernism, if ever you can reach the essence of postmodernism? The essence of it is that sense of loss. You are lost, you know, and you are always in a continuing search or quest for comfort.
Which doesn't have to be
which doesn't, and that is the real difference in treating space, in the treatment of space according to postmodernist writers. They are always tantalized by space.
Always tantalized.
Yes.
Always, you never reach.
Exactly.
Like in the Triangle of Lot, for example, you move from one place to the other with Pension until you really lose interest. يعني خلاص يعني from one place to another, and there is no finale, there is no satisfaction.
I had to close with this, and to be inspired by Nagy. Look at Derek Hope. It's Derek Hope. It's time. It's temporal. ومع ذلك يعني come to think of it. Not that one. Sorry, that one. The title is Derek Hope. Okay. في المكان ده يا حبيبي ياما جينا وياما ضمتنا الليالي، في المكان نفس المكان ده ياما طرنا في العلالي، والليله دي تروح بقى الليله دي وترجع تاني للمكان. هنا في نفس المكان جيت انا وشوقي وهغنيها وقلبي امالي. وفي الاخر نعيش شلالة عمر. بس what is the most predominant thing is
نفس المكان. The same
space.
But again, this is different from a postmodernist sense of place. Here is satisfaction, here is settlement, here is relaxation. إنما في أليس منرو بهدلة يعني.
But again, you know, you have to examine the writer's awareness of space. Is he that, or has Beckett, for example, been aware of space in that sense, in that Monrovian sense, to the extent that every page and every scene and every act of the play and every turn of events and every character and every sentence is inspired by space? No, it is just there. It's one of the pieces of the architecture of the narrative, so to speak. Space represents one piece of the whole game of the narrative. And then we have, this is the backbone of postmodernism. In Monroe, space represents the backbone.
One question here.
You talked after that time is temporary, but place is permanent.
Yes.
Do you think that we can deal with the experience of place totally different from time? What about history? It has a great effect on place. I mean that Canada 60 or 70 years ago is different talking from Canada today. So how can we ignore the fact of time?
Okay. I've said as much in my presentation. Space does not overlook time altogether. It doesn't. It cannot, even if it tries. And if you remember the metadata, the beginnings of her short stories, they all begin with time. And she harks back to time. She comes back to time over and over again. But again, who is on the driving wheel? It is space. Okay? There are passengers like time. Time can be described or represented as one of the passengers, one of the toolkit. But the most important thing of the toolkit is that major tool, which is space. I was planning to talk about the chronotope, as Dr. Magda has said. It all began with time, and then there came a time in the 80s when Mikhail Bakhtin, in his the biology imagination, talked about اللي هنسميه بالعربي الزمكانية, the correlation between زمان and مكان. So place and time put together. Okay, when you understand and appreciate the connotations of time in correlation or in relation to space, and that was a step forward. لحد ما وصلنا بقى postmodernism, which talks about space per se. But no one can ignore the effect of time, of course. But it is marginalized. نقدر نقول كده, it is marginalized. It is made use of, but it remains as such, as one of the aspects of the novel, not the major aspect of the work of art.
Ramona, تفضلي.
Related to that, when she mentioned Beckett and waiting for the moon, their space and place have a different function. They just increase the stability of action, the non-action. Therefore, it's repeated throughout the play. And it has a different function in the theater of space.
It increases our consciousness of the space behind and around and within characters, so to speak.
No, not only that, the setting is the same.
Yes.
It does never change.
Exactly.
There is no action because nothing happened. And there is uncertainty.
Nothing comes, nothing goes, nothing happens.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it has a different function than what.
Totally different from Monroe's use. Thank you very much. Yes.
Any more questions? Because I have a burning question. Actually, because I believe that people come to this academic research circle willing to share the research interest and willing to see other research written. And I would like to actually talk a little bit about meta-research and how we write research and what happens in the process. So I would like to ask you something which occurred to me while I was sitting and when you were sharing Harold Bloom, and that Harold Bloom actually found that Lefebvre could be a good tool for reading Alice Munro. I would like to ask you about your feeling as a researcher, because sometimes we feel disappointed, and sometimes we feel reassured because we say, well, I'm not alone, I have noticed something that other people have noticed. So I would like you to talk about your experience, a meta-research thing, your experience as a researcher. How did you feel when you found Bloom saying this, or was it before you started that you read Bloom?
I felt exhilarated actually, and because you're asking me to talk about my experience, let me remind you of my MA Viva when the professors Eva and Fadila came to Tanta kindly to examine me. There was something you discussed together on your way to Tanta Dr. Fadila told Dr. Magda that Abu Gawad has said something in his thesis that has to be proven. Otherwise, he could be a great plagiarist. He mentioned things and then he supported his ideas by the book, the famous book by Alan Wilde on E.M. Forrester. And that was the major question she asked me. You are talking about Wilde, and Wilde is almost saying the same thing that you've been saying. But honestly, والله ده اللي حصل فعلا. يعني I finished my whole thesis and then I came over the book by Alan Wilde, and it was in Ramadan, I remember, and I sent him a letter saying you are talking about art and order, and this is exactly the title of my third chapter. Could the book is not available in Egypt at all. He kindly sent me the book and asked me to return because there was no other copy in the States, and I did with a present, of course. And I read the book and found that what I said before reading the book was endorsed and supported by Alan Wilde. I felt great. And I said that, I was honest. I told Dr. Fadila that, and I was her student in the MA here, in this very prestigious place, and she trusted me, and she believed me. The same thing happened with Harold Bloom. I only read Bloom a few weeks ago. I started working on this in 2013. Once she got the Nobel Prize for Literature, I began interested in Alice Munro and her novels at that time, and then I began collecting data and reading and stuff until I came over the book by Harold Bloom very recently, and I found out that very supportive statement.
Okay, you're very generous. I mean, I would have felt a little bit disappointed, but you are, you're open-minded. And let me share just this one experience. I have a friend, you might probably know, Dr. Shireen Mazloom at Ain Shams. And we met together in one of those دورات تدريب المدرس الجامعي, and we got to know each other. What are you? Oh, novel. I'm also working on novel. And what are you writing on? She said, I'm doing a post-colonial reading of Wuthering Heights. I said, oh my God, what are you doing? She said, a post-colonial reading of Wuthering Heights. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, and then we both felt somehow threatened, somehow disappointed, because what am I going to add that she has not added, and what is she going to add? And to our amazement and to our satisfaction and surprise, we exchanged the papers.
They were different.
And they were completely different. They were completely different.
Though you might have referred to the same resources. Or some of them.
We even used different resources. We even used different resources. Not all the resources were the same. So this is why I was asking you, because it's really, it happens in the best researchers, as they would say, that you do things and you find it. But I'm sure that Bloom has not done what you have done, because you have taken Alice Munro's full book, I think.
I do not claim to have selected a full, comprehensive, exhaustive perspective, but I've chosen that area of speciality under the rubric Geocriticism.
May I ask you, how many short stories have you dealt with?
4.
4 short stories. So you took the 4 short stories, and you did not have any anxiety of influence from Bloom, which was great, because this makes you a brave researcher. And I think with this note, we can move to our informal discussion over some food here. But before we do that, I want to make yes. اللقاء الثاني, by the way, I knew Dr. Abdul Gawad. I attended his viva. I went to Tanta to attend his viva with Dr. Eva.
25 years ago.
25 years ago. والحقيقه هو اللي كل اللي بيعمله ده اللقاء الثاني, واللي عارفين عمر المكان ما بيبقى نفس المكان and all these things. So actually اللقاء الثاني, I'm seeing him as a wonderful professor. I used to know him as a colleague, as an MA student who is sitting in the viva, and I'm really impressed on how he developed as a wonderful research worker, and really enjoyed every bit and every minute. Before we move to the food, I have an announcement for my department, Malishi, putting the role of the head of the department. The university, the faculty is open Sunday, the whole day. I received this news from Dr. Mona. So if you have lectures late during Sunday, please go on with the lectures. And then we are closing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the Parliament. I'm sorry about that. Dr. Rania.